Damn, you made the A-list?
Shout out, it's your boy A-List. We here from Boston to Dallas. We got a new flavor, a new taste in here. So what we gonna give y'all is a new up-and-comer entrepreneur clothing line, Freaks of Culture. Please tell us about this.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Lomax Edwards. I'm from Freaks of Culture. We started this company, man, just basically trying to pay homage to the culture. We do everything, man. We're really focused on, you know, the music, the movies, the pop culture. So we're just a melting pot of everything that it culminates from a cultural perspective. When we're looking at our clothing line and when we're looking at these cultural references, it's really a lifestyle.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with this idea?
So, this idea started like 10 years ago, bro. Me and my other business partner, we was just kicking it, and then, you know, he was telling me like, hey man, I was in New York with my boy, we were talking, he came up with this dope name. It's called Freaks of Culture. I'm like, oh, that's super crazy. And we really didn't know what to do with it at the time. Like I said, this is about 10 years ago. And then finally, it just sparked off during the pandemic, man. I was like, you know what? I got this idea for a character, for something that we could put out to the people. And then that's what kind of, you know, sparked it off back in, October of 2021.
So, October of 2021,
Yeah.
Where was you at? Was you back home?
Nah, I was here in Dallas, man. I literally, you know, I was talking to my boys, like, yo, I got this idea, and I took this image, right? It was Justice. So everybody knows Lady Justice with the scales and the blindfold, and she got, you know, the scales of justice.
Right.
So now I basically took that and freaked it. Instead of having those scales of justice, I gave her a timepiece, gave her a neck piece with the scales on it. I was up weighing the money, right? The money was weighing heavy. And then you got the gun where the power was. So first you get the money, then you get the power, right? And you standing on the book of justice, right?
Oh,
but then that's the knowledge
it.
base. Yeah, so I mean, it's the three-pronged approach of how we, you know, really freaked it and put that image out as our first piece, man.
I respect that. So
Yeah.
what does the name mean?
Yo, but I mean, the name, what we came up, man, again, man, Freaks of Culture. Like, when we was growing up, man, we started this company, I mean, if you really think about it, even though we just came up with the idea 10 years ago, and then we just put it out in October of 2021. This idea started in 1996, man. We really into the hip hop, you know, into rap music, into the culture, into movies. Me and my boys, when we have conversations, you can't even follow along what we talking about because we throwing in so many cultural references and they be spot on, man. I give you an example. You know, if a lot of people know this movie, you know Paid in Full, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If my boy does something and I don't like it, I snatch his drink off the table, man. No soy sauce, no champagne, no nothing, B. Nobody eats. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of conversations we having, man. We taking it all the way back to the Warriors and just freaking it, bro.
Okay, so you taking it back. Being from Boston,
Yeah.
tell us about your hip hop upbringing.
So I mean, from when I was a kid, man, you know, I had an older brother, so I'm probably about 18 years younger than my brother, man. My first love and my first introduction was Rakim, bro. You know what I'm saying? Rakim, KRS-One, Public Enemy, that's what I know. That's where I come from. And then from there, it just got greater. It got greater later. From there, I went to Big Daddy Kane. That's where I came into my own, in front of my own artist, right? My brother had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So Big Daddy Kane, the Symphony, you know what I'm saying? The Juice Crew, that's the type of hip hop that I know.
So now let me ask you this. Does
Yeah.
any of that hip hop contain to your clothing line, the Freak
Yeah.
of Culture?
Yeah, so I mean, again, I'm a freak of culture. I live this. This is in my veins, bro, since I was a kid. So when I'm looking at hip hop, when I'm looking at my clothing and I'm looking at hip hop and I'm looking at movies, I mean, it's really, we're saying the name Freaks of Culture, but it's a culmination of a bunch of things. If you look at the foundation of where we were, right? Ralph Lauren plays a big part in our culture, right? Tommy Hilfiger a little bit, yeah, but Ralph Lauren is the standard, right? You heard
that's true.
Kanye. You heard Kanye when he was talking to Sway. It ain't no Ralph though. You know what I'm saying? It ain't on Ralph level.
That's
so
when we grew up in Detroit.
It's on that Ralph. So when you look at what we do, I mean, these designs and what I'm wearing tonight is really, you know, the foundation of that. We coming out with collections. We not just doing one thing. We gonna freak it, man. That's how we living it.
Talk to us about the image on some of your hoodies and t-shirts.
Yeah. So I mean, this is really just a varsity image, right? Really just real crisp, real traditional, real just out there, man. When I was just walking in here, this pops, man. I met another young man in here that was in here, brother, today. He's a poet, man. As soon as he see my shirt, like, oh, where you get that from? Like, man, I got it from me, man. This is my line. This is what it is that I do. So the image that I just kind of explained to y'all was Lady Justice, right? If you think about what's going on in our communities, what's going on across the world for black individuals, right? You think about justice. In this country, it's supposed to be fair, right? It's supposed to be blind. But we already know, once you get the money, then you get the power, right? So that's really what we kind of set it off with. That's our initial message out into the marketplace. So when we put that out there, that's kind of what we were thinking.
Well, coming out with your own clothing line,
Yeah.
who inspires you in your space?
Yeah, so, I mean, again, really what we look at is really, you know, I'm looking at Ralph Lauren. I'm looking at all of the wild 90s, the colors, the flavors, and putting all those colors and pieces together, right? I'm a couple years behind, but timing is everything, man. I think we, you know, this pandemic allowed us to see and utilize our time and come up with some ideas and some designs, right? So we look at the Ralph Lauren's, the P Diddy's of the world, right? The Rockaways, and then even now, right? Like I'll pay homage to these guys now. You know, gallery department. I see what those dudes is doing from a fashion perspective. You know, Chrome Hearts, things like that is kind of what we look to get inspiration from.
Okay, how was your business set up? Who's the head?
Yeah.
Or do everybody have like a position?
Yeah, so there's three of us, right? And we all kind of play our own part, right? We broke the company down, third, and a third. We all grew up together. We're all from Boston, different parts. I'm from Roxbury. My other boy is from Dorchester, and my cousin, who's the one who came up with the name, is from Mattapan. So my cousin Aaron Steele, my boy Curtis Bolden, we all kind of formed the head. I'm in sales for you know what I've been doing for the past 20 years in corporate America. So I'm the face of the company, right? For lack of a better term, and I think I just played that position because I came up with the image. I found the guy to print. I found the designers and put it all together and tested the market, right? Put it out on the market, let people see what it is that we're doing. Got some great feedback from friends and family, and then went from there. Now, my other partner, Curtis, he's the one who's really business. He's operations, right? So he's the one who actually went to the attorney, got our LLC started. He's the one who basically put our trademarks in place. And then my cousin Aaron, he's the one who's in the background making sure that some of the website components are together, some of the marketing pieces are together, and just working it that way.
Okay, so three great minds. Our parents always say, two is better than one, three is better than two.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you this. Being a young entrepreneur, you, your brothers, and your family, what's some advice that you give to some of these young men who might want to have a business like yours, who can have that business mind to push and be great, but they understand everybody brings to the table a different part? Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I would say, man, some as a young man, you might have a lot of ego, So that, I mean, for me, and for I'm a little older. I'll be 44 this summer, man. So all of that ego and wanting to get my ideas out and not as always being collaborative, it's kind of pushed to the side now at this stage of my life, right? So as a young individual, I would say be collaborative, man. Listen to everybody's thoughts, listen to everybody's ideas. They're not all gonna take shape, right? But people want to be heard if they're being a part of something. They want to feel like their voice is heard. They want to feel like they're providing value and input. That's one thing that I would say. The other thing I would say is, get your business right. Go to the Texas State Board. You've done this too, because I know you have, and I know your business sense. Just go to the Texas State Board, and you can basically form an LLC, a partnership. Get your business right first before you do anything else, because what can happen is you come up with this great idea, and you don't have a trademark. You don't have it patented. You don't have, you know what I mean?
That hurts a lot of us young brothers.
Yeah. Now it's like, all right, cool. You got this idea. You thought you had something, and then somebody else comes along and they take it from you because you didn't have your business right. So the foundation that you put in place is the business component first, and then start running your business and putting it out there.
Okay, so now what can we expect for y'all You know, it's the summer,
Yep.
2022.
Yep.
We still freshly coming out this pandemic.
Yeah.
Are y'all doing fashion shows? Any car shows?
Yeah.
Y'all going state to state? How are you expanding your business?
Yeah, so now, right, so the initial piece was just doing pop-ups, right? So I was down in Deep Ellum, doing pop-ups down there for a couple, for several months. Now it's really just trying to expand. The biggest thing that we're doing now is really getting our name out there and doing our search engine optimization. So I talked about my partners and kind of what they're doing. Next phase is really blowing up from a marketing perspective and looking at ways for us to get our name out there and be in the public eye, right? So we're still doing pop-ups. We're still doing events. We're looking at doing events, and we're actually talking about doing something together, right? So you and I are looking at talking about doing a fashion show where you're doing the cooking and the DJing and the photography component, and then I put some of my clothing line into that fashion show. So yeah, those are some of the things that we're doing.
Let's take it on another spin. With you being an older man, like I'm an older man, do you feel like the knowledge that you have now, what would have happened if you would have applied this 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Because you said you had this idea 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What took place to make it pop off now than different than 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, we all mature and we all move in different spaces, right? So
which is true.
So 10 years ago, I was just, I was probably, my sons, at that point in time were like 5 and 3. So I had a young family. So, I mean, my focus was really on my family, making sure they were okay, making sure they were right. But if you have the time and the focus and the energy, right, had I known what I know now, 10 years before now, I think obviously I'll be a lot further than where I am. But I would say always start. Just start. You know what I mean? Like if you're pushing stuff to the side, you got this great idea, and you got to figure out how to research it and carve some time out. That's what I would say. Carving some time out, utilizing your time a little more effectively so that you get started, right? And it just basically, not putting your family or your situation to the side, but taking some time, whether it's getting up early in the morning or going to bed later at night and putting some stuff pen to paper, carving out an hour or two after you put your kids to bed, or you and your old lady, if y'all kind of working different shifts or whatever, y'all can kind of spend that middle time together, and then you carve out some time to put your business plan together or put your idea together.
Okay, so now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Being an entrepreneur,
right?
What's the steps that a young person can follow behind you, or what doors can you show them how to open their self? With being a young father or even a young husband, and feeling like being married, trying to run your household, be a husband, be a father, but still push for their own dreams, but also take care of home.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I love to teach. I mean, that's if I wasn't a salesperson out in the field, even when I'm doing that though, I got nieces and nephews that call me that are younger than me that are like, hey, what do you do here? What do you do with this? So it's really, the advice that I would give is if you know somebody, right, and you can reach out to me. I'm on IG, Freaks of Culture. You can reach out to me and I'll be willing to give you the steps and let you know where to go, right, to be able to kind of put your business in order and the steps that you need to take in order to put, your LLC in place, to find an attorney, to do all of these cool things that you're trying to do from a setup perspective, so that your business is in order, and also just giving you the steps, right? A lot of people try to come in things and go out of order or move out of order, right? So there's steps to this, right? There's one, getting your business right. 2, doing the research associated with, if we're talking about clothing line, research kind of what apparel to utilize, right?
Right.
What apparel to utilize, and don't just go with the first piece of apparel. Kind of get some samples, look at what the material feels like. What are you going for? What's your aesthetic, right? Really figuring out what you're trying to bring to the market, right? Not just a cheap t-shirt, right? Like something that you can utilize at the family reunion, right? You get a t-shirt that feels scratchy and itchy on your skin. You want to be able to look at those garments and be able to, say, this is where I'm going to go, figure out the pricing of that garment, figure out the pricing from your printer or whoever's putting your garment together, to be able to come up with your price that you're going to sell to the market.
Okay, so now let me ask you, can we expect a clothing store coming?
Yeah. No, so I mean, from our standpoint, we're looking at really just trying to put it into the online space and or other retailers that already have businesses established, right? So I think our platform and our gear and our streetwear really melds itself well with the sneaker culture.
Okay.
Right? So if I'm looking at, we're having conversations and talking to people that own sneaker stores. Because, you know, when you look at the colorways that we have and some of the things that we already have, it's the Jordans, it's the Yeezys, it's the, you know, different things like that we're basically trying to meld our image towards to go with that sneaker, right? That's out on the marketplace, to go with that hat. We develop our own hats and come up with our own hat designs too, and it's all kind of interchangeable, interweavable, so now you can put together different pieces and different parts of, you either have a hat on matching some kicks, or you have a hoodie on matching some kicks, vice versa, or a t-shirt. That's how we kind of move it all together. Yeah.
So, since you design your own hats and clothes, what's the process in that? How long does that take, the design?
So, if you have a designer, here, this is a great point. If you go on Fiverr, right, this is some free game. You go on Fiverr, you don't know how to make a logo, but you have an idea of what it is that you want to put together, you can go on Fiverr and somebody might charge you like $35 or $40 or whatever to put a design together. And then you take that design, you bring it to your printer, right? Your printer or put something together. This right here is actually felt. This is the design that we put together ourselves. We brought it to my printer. He knew a guy that makes felt, had a bunch of felt cut out to put it onto this t-shirt, right? So now I didn't just do the print piece, right? That was my first design. I went to Fiverr. They came up with the idea that I had in my head with the Lady Justice, and we remixed it, right, with the gun instead of having the scales in their hand. They sent that back to me. I sent it to my printer. I said, hey, I want this colorway, because now it's just an outline, right? I said, hey, listen, I want the dress red. I want the gunmetal gray. I want the bag that she's holding. I want it to be gold. I want it to be silver. I want it to be brown. Whatever it is, these are the pieces and parts that I want to put together. And we talked about the pricing associated with that, right? Now, when you go and you put a design together at the printer, he's using 5 different colors to put your image together, right?
Right.
Now, that's a cost associated with that shirt that you want to put out on the market.
Right.
Now you got the cost of the garment itself, the cost from your printer, and then you look at your profit margin when you put it out onto the market. So now you're trying to make X in order to make sure that you can continue to grow your business and put other designs out there to recoup that money that you spent when you put it out.
Okay, so with 10 years of an idea, and y'all just now starting to get it out there, let me ask you this. Do you feel like so far you have made the impact, or you have reached a point where you say, okay, I got to figure out how to take this to the next level? Do you ever not get hungry enough, or can you take feature cultures and say, if somebody called you was like, hey, can you design my car with y'all clothing line or a logo? Which, are y'all open to do things like that?
I never thought of that, but I might be open to something like that. So here, but to answer your question too, the other question you ask is, no, we're not where we want to be. We're not where we want to be. Like, the entry point for us was t-shirts, hats, and hoodies. We got so many other great ideas that we need to come. I'm not gonna say what they are because they still in the background.
Don't let your left hand know what your right hand do.
Exactly. And this is documented, so I'm gonna just tell you something. I'm gonna tell you like this. Ralph Lauren just put out the Spelman and Morehouse design, right? You heard about that?
I seen it today.
And there was another young African American black-owned company that had that idea back in 2018. I think it's the Black College guys.
Yep.
And they were saying like, man, we put this out there, we didn't know, and now it's out here. So you put it in the ether, somebody seen it, they jacked you, they put your design out there before you get a chance to freak it. So we got some ideas in the background that as we build and we sell these products and these garments, that's what I'm talking about, the profit margin associated with what I'm selling and what we're selling is going to basically allow us to take that and build some of the other things and the other ideas that we have in store.
Well, you heard it first here at A-List Lifestyle, A-List Cigar Talk. Mr. Lomax himself, Preacher Culture, came down here to give us some game on this beautiful St. Patrick's Day.
Luck of the Irish.